Hello everyone and welcome back to the Coach Dave Delta World Sprint Championship and welcome to the finale here tonight at Sebring. We've got a lot to look forward to and a lot of exciting racing that we're about to witness to cap off this championship. My name is Ben Sapsford and unfortunately Hiro is still under the weather, so he won't be able to join us for this finale tonight, but once again, wishing him all the best. A quote, I'm going to direct quote from him here in our little conversation before the broadcast. He is apparently sounding like a dying frog. So I wish him all the best in getting better. Hopefully you don't actually sound like that, mate. Hopefully there's a bit of hyperbole there. But regardless, hope you're recovering. And hopefully you got a nice, comfortable seat if you're watching there in the broadcast right now. Because we've got a lot of good stuff. We've got a lot of good stuff coming, as we have got a pretty interesting scenario. First, let's talk winners from last time out. Starting off, as you know, with the hypercar podium last time, third win on the trot. It's going to be Patush, getting himself to 18 points away from Bellucci, and then Mathieu Bouquet and Alessandro Grossi in second and third. So could be a potential fight for third place in the championship here, as Bouquet has been closing in on Schlichting's position. Meanwhile, on the LMGT3 side of things, we have got another case of 3 wins on the trot. It's Robert Poor, and with him mathematically almost certainly locked in to take the championship, this is going to be a victory lap unless something really goes wrong. Alistair Ramsey and Ian Nisbet are going to be second and third here, and coming into tonight's round, they are just 1 point apart. Now, I did a little bit of commentator maths. Napkin maths is the name of the game here in the commentary box, and we figured out that Poor is pretty much secured to take this championship unless he completely messes up the race and DNFs. That's really the only scenario where he's going to lose out, because he has got a 73-point difference to Lettonen in the next Ferrari. However, the hypercar side of things, we have 18 points difference, and for those who don't know, the last round is a double point round, meaning that the gaps are magnified. Instead of 51 points for a first place, it is 102. That's going to be a major difference, and that's going to mean if we see Bellucci go third or lower and Patush takes the win, Patush is going to take the championship on the final round for the hypercars. So there is a lot on the line here for some of these drivers. You've got some racers who are even closer on the board. Bouquet is 7 points away from Schlichting's position and looks to be getting the sweep, as we don't actually have Schlichting trackside today. We have got a little bit of a dip down compared to the start of the season. We also have a couple of penalties to consider, namely that Bellucci, Uhilal, and Mark Ferdinand Kerner, they are in the danger zone. They have to keep tonight's race clean. If they get any more license points, their championship points will not be counted, meaning that their season will be for naught. So they have to keep it ultra clean. They have to really bring their A game. However, on the other side of things, we have Marvin Butzin, who is serving a race ban, so he's not going to be joining us on the track tonight. Luckily, he's got completely his own pocket of the championship, so he's not going to be under any threat from the likes of De Vries and Holstenius. He is about, I think, 80 points away? Yes, 78 points away from the next closest driver behind, so very much in the clear there. And we finally have Bouquet, who will be serving a qualifying ban after license points, so they will not be joining us trackside for the qualifying session. They will be at the back of the grid here, but we're about to go to the track and we're about to see everyone get out there and really show us what they can do. It's going to be a fun one here. We are on board with Gianluca Bellucci to start things off here. The outlaps are getting completed. Let's go trackside and let's have some fun. Sebring, as you can see, very bumpy. It is a little bit of bumping up and down, and you have to make your car a little bit more pliant to deal with that. Bellucci is going to be the first driver on the hypercar side of things to show us what he's made of. Curious thing to note is when you come to Sebring, you have to be careful of two particular sections. You've got to be careful of this first sector just before the hairpin here as well. It's a dangerous braking zone. You've got to bring your best. But then you also have the later section and the infamous Sunset Bend, aka the final corner. That corner catches so many drivers off guard. It's so easy to mess that one up, and you cannot make any compromises. Bellucci with the best sector one so far of all the hypercars is going to be a 0.433, although actually Alessandro Grossi has just gone that little bit faster, at least on the sector one times. Let's see what they can do here. Bellucci is trying to set his initial benchmark, and coming into sector 3 now. Yep, turns 3 and 4, of course, being very finicky around the course, as well as being a place where drivers do have to keep their awareness at an all-time high. You cannot be overdoing it. You cannot be trying to sweep around the outside of the LMGT3s. If you are going to play that dicey game, then you best be careful. Bellucci, though, going very wide on the outer side, and it's a 46.507. First time on the boards. Is there going to be any challenges? Let's see. Hendrik de Vries in the Cadillac right now, making their way down and into sector 2. A few more times on the board. It's a 0.644 for Grossi, and a solid run there. So they're just a 10th behind, losing most of the time in sector 2. We've also got some of the GT3s now making their way through. Timi Lehtonen leads with a 202.164. Starkey with a 4.153. Niesbet just behind. Jordan Forte with a 3.117. We'll check in with some of the GT3s in just a moment. 15-minute quali session means that everyone has got to get out there and get some runs done fast. Here is De Vries going very wide there. Carry as much speed as you can. And it looks like De Vries invalidated their lap, so that will not be counted. It will not be kept. See some of the others come through. Now here's Robert Poor, of course, the car to beat here in tonight's GT3 category. It's a 202.956, so not quite reaching the highs of rival Lehtonen, but still going to be a formidable run nonetheless. Last 3 cars to get a run trackside on the GT3 category. It's going to be Daniel Moffat, Alistair Ramsey, and Gary Barham. But looking at the times, the top 5 of each category, it's going to be Bellucci, Grossi, Cook, Wilson, and then Holstenius. Only 5 hypercars yet, well, who have yet set times, because we have 11 hypercars joining us, and so far all the rest of them, with the exception of Kerner, who's got a 213.319, so I think that is just an initiator or an opening lap. It's going to be a quick shootout, but there is going to be a new time coming through onto the board. As you can see, that top 5 has now changed for the hypercars. Bellucci is going to be at a 45.847. Here comes Daniel Moffat now into second place with a mighty run in that Ferrari. 202.754. Easily one of the cleanest sector 3s that I've seen in a little bit. And now it's just Alistair Ramsey left to put a time down. We've got Mitchell Diaz coming out through the final corner out of Sunset Bend. Up to the line, it's a P7. Going to be a 54.901. Still plenty of improvement time to come. No doubt in my mind there. Here we have got Kerner as well, who is going to try and see what more they can get out of that car. They're about 2 seconds down. But even so, 2 seconds down is going to be enough to put them ahead of at least Mitchell Diaz in P8 currently. Between them and Borgso, last 2 hypercars yet to put a time down. And then Alistair Ramsey, in an unexpected turn of events, they've been a driver who really has brought the fire to the track in that Vantage. 8 points behind Moffat, so even just a couple of positions could sway them into the podium. We'll see how they do. Gonna, though, up to the line. Is there going to be the improvement they seek? It will be a substantial improvement and a 50.749. Borgso's just finished as well. It's going to be a 54.318. And that will be all of the hypercars now timed down. Is Alistair Ramsey literally just came through 203.842 here. But I think they've still got more fights left in the tank. So we're going to see them continue to push round. And we'll see what this GT3 can do. Check in. See the kind of speed that he's able to carry through some of these corners. Turn 3 and 4 now and into Gurney Bend under the bridge. Progressive throttle and steering. Keep the smooth line that you'll be able to carry a lot more speed. Minimize your scrubbing. Going to be braking just after the 300 meter board and all the way down to first gear. Get that car rotated. Get the diffs doing their job. So we're now out of Sector 1 into Sector 2. Coming into Cunningham Corner. The 300 board once again. Get that car balanced and planted. And power your way through the end of Sector 2 here. What's the deltas going to be like? We are a quarter of a second down in Sector 1. Will there be an improvement? So far looking fairly clean. Minimal scrubbing of speed. And look at that beautiful Sector 2. That's going to be the best of the GT3s so far and actually made up an entire 0.3 of a second. Question is, can Ramsey bring it home? Will he be able to bring it home here? It's the question on my mind, and I imagine on many others. Down the back straight. And then into the final bend. It almost looks pedestrian from this angle, but make no mistake, that's over 250 kilometers per hour. Keeping it on the white lines and then taking a bit of a wider arc, trying to avoid some of the bumpier patches as we now come through the final corner and up to the line. It's a 202 to beat, and it's a 202.694. That's enough for third place for the Aston Martin. Very impressive run, I have to say. Eyes, though, onto the hypercars once again, and Patush seems to be one of the stars of the show in the latter half of this season. 3 wins on the trot. Round 7 to 9 is in their pocket. So now it will be time to see, can they get themselves set up for a strong opener and a strong starting couple of laps here at Sebring. 6 minutes on the clock. It's going to be about 3 laps of time left, excluding mid-lap pushes. But so far, looking like they are trying to make this the push lap. As we now make our way down to the middle straight and into the hairpin turn. We're going to have roughly the same braking distance as the GT3s. The speed difference comes in the aero and the ability to rotate. Looks like Patush is significantly down, so this is not going to be the run. It's going to likely be next lap. Here's Richard Cook, also saying much of the same. Bit down on the deficits here. They are going to be, however, with a 48.096. Looking to get some time on the board. If they can get within 1.5 seconds, that will be a major step up. And looks like this will be a decent run for them here. Just see if we can bring back the final sector. Is he going to be able to do it in the number 99? Let's find out. Back straight once more. 250, 260, 270 kilometers an hour, encroaching on 300 before they have to jump on the brakes again into the final. They're taking a much narrower line, even kicking the tail ever so slightly, trying to minimize the travel, but still arcs it out right to the left wall. Going to be a 48.096 standing still, no improvement for Richard Cook. Meanwhile, Mitchell Diaz is going to be feeling much of a similar story, significantly down on Sector 1. So we'll be looking to make up time in Sector 2, but I'm not holding breath. Patouche is going to be on another run now as we jump on board with the helicopter and try and get a bit of a bird's eye view on just how much he's trying to wrangle the car into the hairpin. Really is going to be making those dips do a lot of work, distributing and rotating the car on the axles. It's like a decent run thus far for Patouche here. It is green, but it is indicating an improvement from prior. Now into Sector 2, this is where things can get a little bit dicey. Into Tower Turn now. A fairly squared off right-hander. You've got to get the line just right. You can power out into the Flying Fortress straight now to Bishop. Double apex, but keep to the left. Don't arc out too wide. You will need to stay on the left, then sweep in to get this final complex of turns into the back straight out of the way. You're looking good on the time once again. Patouche is going to be setting themselves up for success here. Let's see how we do into the final corner. You can see braking quite late, or a little bit of scrub of speed on the outside. You can just watch these cars rattle about, try and keep themselves gripped up on this bumpy of a surface. Patouche along the line, though, 46.106. No improvement. Time lost in that sector. That final sector is the deal breaker here. Scott Lettonen with a 202.011 standing as the time to beat for the LMGT3s. You have Port on an outlap, you have 40 in the pits. And we will see if anyone else is going to try and take a stab at it. 2 minutes left, meaning that there is still time. If you want to go out and do one more lap, if you want to start an outlap now, you still can technically make it. Bellucci, De Vries, all both in the pits, but Kerner has just made their way out, looking to try and get one more go. This qualifying has got a little bit of extra weight added to it, given the double points on the line. Good setup and a getaway in those first 5 laps. Set you up very nicely for a good points finish. Through this second sector now, say into the final straight. Lettonen is going to be a little bit down, but can they make it up in the final? 202.011 is a mighty difficult time to beat. Robert Port is exactly half a second behind. Don't see that kind of precision anywhere else. Looks like Richard Cook's going to be heading into the pits and is going to be conceding that this is run done. Grossi is going to be on the front with a .436 time. But here we go. Lettonen managing to pull it together in the final sector. 1.846. They've broken into the 201s. That is seriously impressive right there. Are we going to see any lightning in a bottle from anyone else? It is Danny Moffat coming down the back straight, easily pushing up to 250 kilometers per before we get to Sunset Bend now. So just knocking on the door of the speed. We now sweep around and arc wide for the final corner. Stays within the white line. Doesn't take as much excess as others would. 15 seconds remain. No improvement on time here, but I think that was a setup lap. That was an installation lap for Moffat to really open up the taps. Multiple cars have headed in. Let's check in with some of the others further around the course. Patouche is going for it. Looks like Mitchell Diaz is going to be coming down and to a stop. So returning to the pit lane. Holstenius is going for it too. And Dan Wilson is trying to make the most of it simultaneously. The checkered flag has fallen, however. Kerner is going to be in P10. No improvement from them there. Lettonen is going to be down in the first sector, so I don't think this is a commitment lap. Most of the GT3s have headed in. Stijink is going to be on the course as well. The last chances for many. Patouche, this is everything on the line for them now. They know what's at stake. They know they need to bring nothing short of, forget A game. This has got to be their S game. This has got to be the best of the best that they can give, because this is a championship decider in their eyes. They've got a very fast Bellucci that could be the thorn in their side tonight. It's third place for the Ferrari at best. Dan Wilson is going to be down on time, so I don't think we're going to be seeing an improvement from them. Robert Poor also is going to be improving, but a bit of a rough sector too. That will cause issues. Stijink in the BMW. The last couple of cars through. Last hypercar. Dan Wilson is about to come up to the line. We'll see what he can do there. It's a 47.886 best. No improvement from their lap that we just saw. Stijink coming up to the line, and then Robert Poor will be in a very similar space. You can see the switch over as Poor is going to be actually scrubbing a fair bit of speed. There's some slip angle coming from the Ferrari. And up to the line now, very wide arc and exit. Not looking the best for them. That's going to be an abandon, and Stijink is going to improve to a 0.625, but not enough for position. Unfortunately, that's going to be the limitation there for them, and that is session done. Looking at the qualifying, 10 hypercars and 11 GT3s later, Grossi is taking your pole position here for the red group. In the number 50, Ferrari. Bellucci and Patush going to be second and third, and then you have Diaz, De Vries, Holstenius, Wilson, Cook, Alexander Borgso, and Ferdinand Kerner. Looking to the other side of the aisle, though, Lettonen is going to be your pole holder for the LMGT3s, but let's take a full standing order and a full queue of the field here. Grossi and Bellucci line up on row 1 in the number 50 and 63 Ferrari and Lamborghini. Number 51 Ferrari of Patush, followed by the number 5 Porsche of Mitchell Diaz in row 2. Holstenius is going to be the target car, but De Vriesen is going to be just ahead in 5th and 6th. Dan Wilson and Richard Cook in the number 3 Cadillac and number 99 Porsche. Then the hypercars of Alexander Borgso and Mark Ferdinand Kerner in the Alpine and the Peugeot. Row 6, you're going to look to the GT3s. It's Lettonen and Forte, who is going to be making a bit of a splash in second. Third and fourth going to be for Poor and Moffat, both in the Ferrari, followed closely by Alistair Ramsey and Jordan Biddle in the Aston Martin and Ford Mustang. Nisbet and Starkey, both in the Mustangs, are going to be lining up in row 9, followed closely by Sebastian Bergersen and Franklin Stijink in the Ferrari and BMW. Rounding things off, it's going to be Gary Barham in the number 92 Porsche, and then the number 7 Toyota of Mathieu Bouquet, having served his qualifying ban and joining us on the back of row 11. That is where the session is now going to be in full force, folks. Engines roar to life. This is where it happens. Let us know who you are keeping your eyes on, of course, and if you enjoy what we've had so far, consider subscribing, the like on the stream, or that little note in the live chat goes a long, long way. You can see the cars bumping and jolting over some of the concrete. That is Sebring, but it all leads to this. All roads lead to Rome, and all racing leads to a finale. The championship could be settled here and tonight as the drivers come up to the start-finish line for an hour of racing. Sebring will be our final stop on the World Sprint Championship Tour. But there you go, green flag. The track is hot one last time, as it's going to be an immediate getaway from Grossi. Bellucci is going to try and go to the outside and go to the right as they both sweep their way into turn 1. Patush is going to try and get an early advantage and get as much space as he can in order to assert his dominance on the rest of the field and try and go for that challenge. This could be the championship for them. So they're going to hit the elbows out nice and quick. Turn 3 and 4 looking spicy, as that's going to be a bit of a wobble. Grossi is going to prove to be a roadblock. Patush is off the field and is going to be rejoining down in P7. Holstenius is going to even take a sweep alongside. That's going to be a misjudgment. Turns 3 and 4 not looking good for them. Bouquet has got around the LMGT3s, is now going to be on the chase to try and get things back moving. Starkey is in P5 for the GT3s as well, trying to observe and just holding their place in the middle, as that's going to be Alistair Ramsey right on the back of him. Going to be going for a bit of a surge there and trying to get the best out of their opponents. Richard Cook as well, we're jumping on board with for a second. This is going to be a bit of an awkward spot for the Porsche as they got the Cadillac up ahead, and then it's Patush, who we know is a proven entity, trying to make up for their earlier mistake. They're going to be getting a bit frustrated. They want to make up that time quick while everyone is close. See Patush really trying to keep committed to the back of the Porsche there, trying to power on as soon as they physically can, because they know that time is of the essence. No gaps, no space can be left unchallenged at this stage. Maybe 10 to 15 minutes in, that is going to change. That paradigm is going to shift. But for now, it's all guns blazing, and all 100% of the fight is going to be brought to the table. He's going to come up to the back of Richard Cook. He's going to fire it down the inside, squeeze onto the inside of turn one. Barely holds it, but is going to have to dial back. A bit of a swing and a miss there for the number 51. Biddle is going to be into third place. Meanwhile, as Robert Poor is going to be all the way back down at the bottom of the order. That is going to be a difficult turn of events for them here. Going to be now out into a, well, completely independent pocket. I think they had a major incident earlier on. Not really sure what has happened to them, but we'll see what he can do to catch back up. The Brees in P5 on the back of Wilson. It's Cadillac v Cadillac right now. Be a quick sweep. Gauge your surroundings, gauge your opponent's moves, how much they're feeling the pressure before deciding to take action. Saying that, De Vries has outbraked himself there. He's just gone a bit too deep. That's certainly an error that has proven costly, because they're now behind Bouquet, Holstenius, Cook, all of them. A lot of them are all going to capitalize on that immediately. And Patush now up into P5. Is going to take the free brochure and is going to make their way right in. The little vacation for the top 5. Bouquet, meanwhile, is proving to be a effective racer, immediately making the most out of the situation. Regardless of the quali ban, they're already up into P8, so they've made up quite a good bit of time, and they've made good on their earlier runs. It's going to be a bit of a challenge for him, but not one that he's shying away from. To the front of the field, Bellucci is going to be really bringing his absolute best to the table. He knows what's at stake here. This championship could be on the line for him, and so he's not holding back. He's already a second ahead of Alessandro Grossi. This is prime Bellucci. This is the Bellucci we've seen at round 3 and 4. I wonder how much they are going to be showing us in terms of racing prowess tonight, and I wonder how much Patush is going to have to give it their all to respond. Wilson is going to be caught unawares heading into the hairpin turn, as that's going to be a decisive and smooth move from Patush to get himself now into P4. But this is where the challenge begins, because he's got a lot of time to make up before he sees the next car. So Starkey will be, meanwhile, in their own pocket. It's going to be P5 for the GT3s. And Moffat is going to be their next target. It's going to try and cruise their way up and just slowly get that time down. We'll see what he makes of it. I'll say mighty impressed so far with everyone on this course. First off, we take a full look at the standings of the hypercars. You can see the time gaps. They've already peeled out quite substantially between the hypercars here. In particular, Holstenius, Kerner and Borgso. They've basically fallen away from the grid in a major way. That's going to be a problem that they'll have to eventually deal with. This is Dan Wilson, who we're on board with right now. Bit of tyre squeal as those brakes do take him a bit too hard. It's going to lock up. Turn 3 and 4. Trying to find the balance of the car right now. Seems like it's having to take a little bit of fight to it. All goes a bit too much to the left. It actually touches on the grass. It's that tire scrub. You can hear it just underneath the car. Not going to be serving him well. But hopefully we'll get that car under control. Grossi is on the back of Bellucci right now within half a second. They've got a lot of time to make a move, but I wonder how long he'll stay behind. Don't forget, good racing is not just about having the pace and the wherewithal to take the position. It's about knowing when the right time is. I don't think that this is the right time for Grossi to go on the attack. I think it's the right time to keep Bellucci close, but not necessarily encroach on his space. If you do that, you risk bringing in the other drivers who are behind, and these two have done well to build up about 3.5 seconds between themselves, and you can see just in the background, that's Mitchell Diaz. Switching to the other side of the aisle, Lehtonen is going to be leading and getting a good initial jump on the order. Will have plenty of room as well, because he's got 2.5 seconds on Jordan Biddle next up. And that will be very, very welcomed. You can see even behind there, Biddle is going to be fighting with Jordan Forte in the BMW. So they're not going to be out of the woods just yet. The both of them need to give each other space if they want to catch up. Yeah. 0.6 of a second seems to be the gap that most drivers are teetering about when they're next to another car. They're not going to be encroaching into that attacking zone, but they will still be keeping enough proximity where they're seen as a threat. They're seen as a problem that they'll eventually have to deal with. Building up that soft pressure. That soft leveraging of pressure and keeping your opponents unawares. That's going to be the name of the game. So the moment they make a mistake, you are there and waiting to capitalize. We see the Ramsey is going to poke the nose and go for a bit of a send that he will have to back out from heading into turn 1. I think that was a bit of a hopeful move, we'll call it. As I think he knew deep down that the door was going to close on him. I think it's more about just making it clear to Moffitt. He's there, he's not going anywhere, and he wants that P4. With Gianluca Bellucci, meanwhile, as he's starting the next lap here, and we are 10 minutes in currently. Grossi is going to be 0.3 of a second behind, but remember what he said earlier, they're not actually fighting each other so much as they are just running close and keeping their gaps. That has already paid dividends because they're already now massively ahead of the others. Grossi is going to be a whole 4 seconds clear of Mitchell Diaz, and that is a sight better than we were even seeing just a couple of laps ago. They keep this up and they're effectively going to have a 2-horse race. We are on board with Mathieu Bouquet in 5th place. Remember, post-quali ban, now 5th place. Immense improvement, and now already knocking on the door of Patouche's P4. He is going to be letting off a little bit more than he seems willing, but Mitchell Diaz is actually getting stuck now behind Robert Poor. They're both going to be sweeping either side. You can see the Toyota is having to take a bit of evasive maneuvers, but there you go, onto the right side of Patouche here. They're going to drag race now into the final sector, ending off sector 2. The Toyota is taking a little bit of snap oversteer. This have to correct for, and into sector 3. Looks like they've actually managed to confirm the move and get past Patouche. She's going to be immediately keeping that momentum and trying to catch up to Mitchell Diaz too. You can see that proximity is dropping right down. This is a driver on a mission. He wants that P3. He's potentially hungry to go for even more because he's ahead of Patouche. He will get more points. But at this point of time, he's only going to be getting about a 6-point difference. Still, it is a formidable, commendable effort. The recovery is not enough. He needs to fight. He needs to bring his A game. Bouquet is going to briefly sneak to the right side, but nothing in a committal fashion. I don't think that's going to come in until at least the hairpin bend. You see Patouche really knocking on the door there, almost literally, as they go to very close quarters through turns 3 and 4. Now into the hairpin turn, and you can see they're all trying to make sure that they're not going to get in each other's way, but at the same time, they're dealing with some LMGT3 traffic now. You're going to see Bouquet going to the right side. He's actually going to take the inside line, heading into this next corner, this Cunningham corner. And it looks like Mitchell Diaz is actually struggling to power out some of these turns. Even to the point where Patouche is now getting in on the fight. And oh no, Diaz is going to take it way too hot. In fact, gets on a bit of oversteer, trying to rejoin, and barely keeps it out of the wall. They're going to be overtaken by Dan Wilson and re-emerging in P6. This means Patouche is now going to be knocking on the door of a podium spot. Bouquet having already recovered and got it there. Masterwork of a race. Bouquet is not just racing. He's on a mission. You saw that quali ban and has basically said to defy this. Try me. It's as if he's saying. Because he's already in a podium. Now, I'm not sure how well this is faring with his tyres and his virtual energy, but one thing's for sure right now, this is a impressive display, to put it very mildly. Let's see, another fight on the other end of the scale. It's going to be Kerner and Borg. So Richard Cook is into the box. So that lends me to suggest that there is a major issue with his car, something to that effect. He's already going to be dropping down enough as it is. Looks like he's going to be taking even more of a positional hit. Cook will hopefully be coming out soon and will hopefully get a chance to catch up, but 14 minutes into the race and already having a pit stop, that's not a good sign most of the time. He's going to be coming out of the pits regardless, though. And there will be a hopeful chance of recovery. We'll have to wait and see. One who is having a major upset, it's Poor. Now, I know we said about Poor having a bit of a gap to the point where he might be considered safe. However, this is not going to be good whatsoever. At this current rate, we have a major problem. We're going to have a major problem because 102 points compared to 36, that's dangerous. That's very dangerous, in fact. It's 73 points difference. And this is, I think, around that, extremely close to 73 points if we're taking those standings at face value. But Poor needs to get out of last place and do it fast. And he certainly needs to make sure he finishes if he wants any chance of keeping that spot. Otherwise, Lettonen is going to completely usurp him in the standings. Just needs to finish. And if he finishes above last, then he's got it. GT3 seems to be the place to be right now, as multiple cars are running in very close quarters to each other. Ramsey right on the back of Danny Moffat in P5, but looking to get that P4 off of the Ferrari. Niesbet is going to be a little bit further away, about a second, but too much fighting down here is going to result in disaster. And Ramsey goes way too hot. No, That is not going to work, I'm afraid, Ramsey. You're going to be down now into P6. Niesbet's going to be taking that shot and successfully stealing the position. Just a little bit too much into the tower turn. And that's all she wrote. Now onto Sector 3, but hopefully gets the recovery he needs. There is going to be a local yellow coming out, trying to exactly determine the cause and source. Looks like Richard Cook is going to be DNFing, however. He's going to be returning to the pit lane. And that is going to be curtains. So Cook will be our first, hopefully only, but our first DNF of the session. Cruel twist of fate, that. Never want to see a DNF, especially not in the finale race of the season. That's one of the few sort of times where even if your race is going to terrible circumstances, you want to stick it out. It is just unviable to continue. Oh, he's down Moffat. Now trying to use his newfound space to get a challenge down on a Jordan 40. There is going to be one of the hypercars that is running around. I think that is going to be none other than, I think that's whole Stenius there. Ooh, even a bit of smoke coming up on the brakes. De Vries trying to get around as quick as he can on 240 to get himself a bit of room. Won't be long before this fight comes to blows. And when it does, you're going to have to be there to see it. A good chunk of the field has actually separated itself out quite substantially here. Fastest lap is going to currently be held by Timi Lehtonen with a 203.548. And I think that early stint magic is coming into fruition. Now has several seconds on the field. 5.5. Or teetering around that area. Wonder if Biddle will be able to make a dent in that before it's too late. 20 seconds is going to be like effectively race over. If you get beyond 20 seconds away from someone, even if you have a masterclass of a drive, you're not really going to be getting back on them. It looks like Danny Moffat is going to go very narrow through that final corner. I wonder what the play is with that. Was that some just like their line, or are they trying to go for something that didn't pan out? In a very nice line through turn 1, however, that could put him in good standing. He keeps this proximity up, takes a bit of speed into Gurney Bend. It could set a attack into the hairpin. Let's find out what he does. Niesbet could also say the same. They are roughly equidistant. It's the same space between those three cars. See, Niesbet is going to peek to the right. Not going to go for a move, but making intentions clear. Once you have set your intentions, it's very easy to get under your opponent's skin to really set them off almost. Danny Moffat will be one to watch, but looking around on the other side of things, let's look to the hypercar class now. As the calm is going to lay a foundation for the storm. Okay, 5.5 seconds away from Grassi. Grassi 2 seconds away from Bellucci. That once close proximity has just as quickly been diminished. Will not be a significant fight for the lead of the race just yet. I think it still very much is on the table. But this lap is not the lap. There is going to be a pit in from both Alexander Borgso and Grossi. Let's actually take a look at how they're doing, as we are going to see the first pit stops for a lot of the hypercars soon. They're all running around 10%. Here's Grossi coming in, and will be sort of trying to get the jump on the competition. I think the undercut could serve him well here. It looks like Ostenius is running a little bit slow, or at least not running optimally, because you can see he's going to be heading into the pits now. They're running very narrow into the pits, and almost didn't realize that the pit straight is all the way down here. Most curious. Wilson is also in. Kerner is going to be sweeping down. Going to be last distance for many. As we can see, just on the infield, there is a lot of hypercars in the pits right now. We're also going to see a couple of GT3s. There's Lettonen, Biddle, Nisbet, Ramsey, all going into the pits and trying to get a quick chance out. We can make a bit. Oh, looks like Kerner is getting a bit wobbly on that rear axle. I don't know how planted that Peugeot is, but it seems to be having a little bit of an issue. Nisbet is going to be joining the ranks of pit lane entrants. Biddle's going to be out. Lettonen's going to be out. Nisbet's going to be out. Before we know it, a lot of the field is going to be back in action. Bellucci, Bouquet, Patush, Diaz is going to be out. And wait, what's this? Grossi is going to be out as well, but not out in the sense of the pit lane, out as in sense of the race. That's our second DNF here. Both DNFs coming from Hyper. That does not bode well. Does not bode well at all. Gonna have De Vries into the pit now, and then looking down to the GT3s again. This is going to be a bit of a shift now. We're coming up to the halfway mark, and Poor is going to be now in 5th place. Granted, before long it will have to go into the pits, so that is potentially going to be a short-lived, or at least a Pyrrhic victory. But he's getting a chance back at the shot of the front. I wonder how well he's going to take it. They're pitting in. It's going to be 14 and Moffat. Most of the hypercars are now coming out now. De Vries is on his way out. Kerner is going to be on their way out. Hopefully soon. Didn't they just go into the pit lane? Pretty sure they just did. I'm not sure what they're going in again for. See, Bergerson is into the pit also. Stijink Moffat, 40. Poor is going through as well, and Barham doing the same. Biddle having already taken the lap. This is going to be prime time. Biddle's going to have very easy goings here. That's going to be so many other cars that they're just going to sweep effortlessly by. And now into the lead of the GT3 class, Jordan Biddle. Lettonen is going to be behind them. And he's going to have to bring some fire if he wants to close that time up. So that will be a bit of a shame to see so many hypercars this quickly jumping out of the race. I mean, we are already halfway through, so not exactly fair to say quickly, but certainly sad to see drivers leave regardless. If you have one driver who has to DNF or leave mid-race, that's mostly seen as acceptable attrition, but you get two, you get more, then you start to worry. Makes you wonder what could have been had those fights been brought all the way back to the end. But we are still plenty strong. We are 20 cars strong on this field. We have 9 hypercars and 11 GT3s, so got plenty of candidates for some racing action. There's plenty of space on the track too. Sebring's deceptive in a way. Once you get alongside someone, it feels like one of the most claustrophobic tracks that you can imagine. But get into your own pocket and you quickly realize just how much the length of the track factors in. I believe it's 6 kilometers, this track. So certainly not a short one. One of the longer tracks on a racing calendar. Either way, Cook and Grossi are 2 DNFs of this session thus far, and halfway through the session later, looks like we have got a very interesting shift back up to the front. Ooh, just narrowly avoiding a spin. That is going to be Jordan Forte. Ramsey is going to get the free spot out of that, but looking at the grid now, Bouquet is in fact into first place after pit stops from everyone. Patouche is going to be in second, Bellucci in third. Remember, first and third is going to be what is needed. 18 points. Or if this current position, let's say Patouche does finish in this current position, that means that we would need Bellucci to finish 5th or lower. Actually, no, 4th or lower, because he'll get countback. Patouche would win on countback if it came to that. He's got more wins. It's 3 wins to 2. So 4th or lower, and Bellucci loses the championship. Halfway through the race, 30 minutes left to make it happen. Apologies, folks. My microphone wire decided that it no longer wanted to function as a microphone wire. But we are back either way, and we have just been on board with Bellucci as we've tried to see how he's handling that car. You do get quite a bit of bumping and a lot of camera shake as a result. Bellucci is teetering on the 2-second mark. It looks like similarly to how we saw with Patouche's position before, with Grossi, sorry. The time can't really be made up. At least not easily. is going to be a bit of calm, a rare moment of peace amongst the field. We do have a fight with Holstenius and De Vries. Let's see what these two do. But barring these two, a lot of the field has hit a bit of equilibrium. There's a gap amongst the cars that is substantial, and short of traffic, there's no major impedance to everyone just going at their best pace and really giving it everything. But this is where you want to get the miles down, get the laps down, and just make the most of the open window. I know that it isn't necessarily the most exciting, but I always stand by the fact that this is the best case scenario for most racers. You want to get in your own pocket and you want to start running hot laps effectively. This is going to be the best chance that you're going to have, and this will be where push comes to shove and the crunch time comes for many drivers. De Vries and Holstenius, though, are going to be bucking that trend. They're going to be going drag racing into the final corner, and it looks like there is going to be a very deep line coming in from the Cadillac and keeping the speed, with Holstenius not really having much in the way of a response. That is a very effective move indeed. Now, De Vries can actually use the GT3 there, sweeps to the inside, using that lateral grip and the aerodynamics to the full advantage. Made clear that it was going to be a viable move too before committing to it. Holstenius did get a little bit stopped, wasn't able to quite commit the move in the same way that De Vries was, and that is lended to them being a second and a half ahead. We're even going to see more of that same case, as that's going to be Craig Starkey being overtaken by Hypercar 2. But there will hopefully be a chance for some as well to get some recovery in. Like Robert Poor, he's actually managed to get ahead of Barham, but that's off the fact that Barham has DNF'd. We got the confirmation that about 2 laps ago he decided that enough was enough. He's not going to be committing to the full race distance. And we will be seeing him now retire out, meaning that there are 3 cars retired. There's going to be 19 cars that remain on track. And it will be judgment time for those who remain. Kerner's into the pits once more. I feel like Kerner has gone into the pits so much more than other racers. It really is bizarre. Not quite sure how to explain it there. Even so, let's look to the front of GT3. We can see that Lettonen continues to lead, and Biddle is about 3 seconds away, so no major threats to be concerned with there. 40 coming off of a spin, as we saw before. That was an easy slam dunk position for Ramsey, but he now currently stands P7 in the order, or 16th on track. I'm going to switch that to top 5 for each, and you have Bouquet, followed by Patouche, Bellucci, Diaz and Wilson. Then on the GT3s, it's going to be Lettonen, Biddle, Nisbet, Ramsey now in 4th, and then Danny Moffat into 5th. My eyes still remain firmly trained on Bellucci, because they are going to be their own sort of linchpin when it comes to the championship fights. He needs to stay in this perfect middle ground. He's 3 seconds behind Patouche, but Patouche is 9 seconds behind Bouquet. Bouquet is just absolutely storming forward and has done a ridiculous job. It's effectively gone last to first, and I don't even know how to viably respond to that, because it seems like when they're behind that wheel of that Toyota, they've awakened something here at Sebring.
8.5 seconds down briefly, but really is just a testament that Bouquet is doing something special to be able to pull that amount of time. And we'll see if that is a product of strategy or if that has been a product of just pure pace and pure push. In due time, we might see that time be undercut by a strategy upset. As we see Holsteni is now into the box. Makes us wonder if we are going to see more of that too. Oh, something's gone wrong. Is that smoke coming out of De Vries's car? Something is going seriously wrong there. Yeah, that's smoke. That's not good. That's not looking good. Okay, this is going to get serious. If there is a technical issue with the car and is generating smoke, leaving it on track, that is a major concern. Of course, any of those sort of well-versed, a bit more close to track, so you can see he's completely smoke screening. That's going to be Lettonen right there. He's practically getting hit with a smoke screen device as De Vries is peeling through. Oh, I wonder if that's a visual issue there, as it looks like they are. Yeah, it just does look like they are just generating a ton of smoke. We're not seeing that from any other car either. We're seeing the occasional sparks come from those diffusers and the aero package. Makes me feel concerned for De Vries's car, but enough labouring on that. Ikerna is 2 stops deep. Holsteni is 2 stops deep. Everyone else currently stands on 1. And then on the GT3 portion of the course, everyone is going to be at least 1 stop deep now, though Biddle is going to be looking to go for a second here, looking to once again, like previous, undercut their competition and get the nose in on their competitors. There's going to be a big opportunity for an undercut there, but it needs to be well executed. He cannot afford to get a wobbly start when he comes back out the pit lane. This is going to give Ramsey a P3 for the time being, but that will soon change by any counts. The gaps once again being fairly substantial between the cars. Nobody is in major proximity to another. Closest you're going to get is going to be Jordan 40, who's 2.5 seconds off of Craig Starkey. Biddle now out of the pit lane, making his way down and out to the exit straight just before the final corner of the course. Major component here is going to be just how much you'll be able to make up time running in clean air. That's going to be Dan Wilson just in the background, running on his own mission and mirroring the story of the driver up ahead of him. There's a Mitchell Diaz 1.5 seconds away from Bellucci. If these two fight, this could be again a major factor in what comes to pass on those final standings. Race control notwithstanding. So far, Bouquet is more than primed to take P3 in this championship if this performance is to be believed. It is a bit of a shame, really, because if we saw them on all rounds, I think we would see a truly remarkable season and potentially a season-winning driver alongside Patush and Bellucci. It's a shame they're not in the same points packet to really fight at the bleeding edge of this season. Niesbet and Starkey both heading into the pits now, meaning Forte is going to get a freebie and get himself up into 4th. There's going to be a question mark surrounding his current position, though, because that earlier issue, that earlier spin on the 2/3 sector, that has seemingly harmed his confidence in the car a little bit. He's not really pushing as hard as one could. You can see that's going to be one of the Ferraris now sweeping their way round, trying to get round as quick as he can. That's going to be Patush. as we now have Bouquet into the pits. Bouquet in the pits is going to mean a couple of things. It's going to mean Patrice is going to assume the lead. It means Bellucci is going to get into second. And now this means that we will have a bit of an undercut coming in from Bouquet right now. He's already coming out of the pits. Pretty quick stop by my metrics. And now going to be coming out in P5. Will he be able to beat out Hendrik de Vries, who is still spewing smoke on the track? I wonder if the other cars can see that, or if that is purely just a visual bug from the spectator perspective. De Vries is actually going to serve Bouquet well. They're going to be serving as a target. There will be a challenge for them to hunt down. Oh, it looks like we're going to see a bit of a traffic issue coming in. De Vries is going to get momentarily held up by a BMW. Oh no, that's a Mustang, my mistake. Am I blind? I must be. And slightly in one eye, but besides the point. Also now into the pit lane, meaning that many of the hypercars are going to be going in for their second now. We see Bouquet on the back of De Vries, who's trying to peel out the smoke screen and trying to get themselves past the blue Cadillac. Actually getting pretty close quite quickly. Curious to see if they're actually down on engine power right here. And oh, big slide there from De Vries, really having it rough and not getting any success out of the tower turn and into sector 2. Not having really any success with that last corner. That would have been a bit of a painful pill to swallow, as they would have been fighting with Bouquet for a good while, and that could have driven them forward. Is going to be getting past one of the other Mustangs. Now we'll be having a proper showdown. Wilson into the pit, Borgso on their way out in the Alpine. 16 minutes remain, meaning that this could very well be the last pit stop for many. We'll check on the energy levels of the hypercars, and we can see that they're teetering on the 15 to 25% mark for most. We have got Bouquet, who's running about 50%. Holstenius has gone to 60, gone for a bit safer of a region, give more room to play. Patush, Bellucci, Diaz, and De Vries all will be heading in, along with when Borgso's data updates. We'll find out for sure exactly how much energy they've got left. Bellucci has got right to the back of Patush now. That's going to be a hefty weight on shoulders. I wonder if we will even see potential for an overcut here. It's not unheard of, but overcuts can happen if there is that much time to be gained. See what these two do. Patush and Bellucci now running real close. Mitchell Diaz even getting involved on the back line and putting some serious pressure on in the Porsche. All has grown quiet on the GT3 front, but there will still be plenty of fire and pizzazz at the sharp end. Lettonen continues to lead for the GT3s. And then Ramsey is going to be actually inheriting second place, as many of the GT3s did not long have some pit stops, and that has shaken up the order once again. See, this is going to be Gianluca Bellucci. Just trying to chase down as much of the gap as they can before they both inevitably have to head into the pits soon. I think we're going to be looking at the next couple of laps or so. Everyone who is yet to pit on the hypercar side is going to sweep in all at once. See, they are going to be staying out a little bit longer now. But see those virtual energy levels are really teetering in the danger area. About a second away, Diaz is going to be dropping out of the fight to Bellucci, but half a second stands between the Ferrari and the Lamborghini, so there's still very much a lot on the table. Looks like there's been an issue. That's going to be Kerner. Just jumping to the background. You can see the Peugeot spun on the way out of turn 1. So that is going to be a tough wake-up call, as they're now having to yield under blue flag rules to others. Couple of cars coming out of the pits now, having gone in just moments ago. We have 12 minutes remaining. This is going to mean about 6 to 7 laps. Current start of the field is that Patouche, while ahead of Bellucci, their main rival, is still not going to have enough of a points advantage to be able to secure this championship from the Lamborghini. It's still going to be a chance for them to jump ahead. It looks like Diaz, along with Bellucci and Patouche, are all going to be jumping into the box. The question is, who's going to play the risky game? Who's going to jump the other? And who will be the first to get moving? It's like a spaghetti western. It's a stalemate, as Patouche is going to be the first one to get moving away from the others. That's going to be Diaz actually jumping out ahead. Bellucci's going to go into third now. The pit lane changes everything. The great standstill equalizer has reared its head one more time. We got ourselves a race here, ladies and gentlemen. We've got ourselves a real race on our hands. The finale is set. The stage is clear, and all eyes turn to one red and yellow car adorning the field and now crossing the start-finish line one more time. Bellucci will be still in the safety net, still with enough points to hold. But will that stay? 6 laps to find out whether that will remain. Bouquet is up into first place, having undercut the field significantly, and now 5 seconds ahead of Mitchell Diaz on the other side of the hairpin now, just making their way through. Themselves 1.5 seconds from Patouche, and Bellucci gonna be even further than that, 1.8. It'll be about 40% on the virtual energy, and that's gonna be just enough to get him home. Looks like 60% was the sort of rough upper limit of most refuels. Enric de Vries will be heading into the pits as well. Last pit stops are going to be coming through from the field. Anything after this point, realistically, is not going to be worth it. It's a bit of a misnomer. I don't think it's necessarily viable after this stage. Even so, the challenge is still raging on. Danny Moffat is going to be jumping into the pits. And see the sort of racing dirt and grime collecting on the windscreen there. particularly hovering on the, on the little stands, on the little sort of jump jacks there. Looks like that's going to be De Vries rotating their way out as 40 is going to go in. Stijink's going to be in as well. Yeah, anything after this point would have been a fruitless endeavour. You might be able to save more time to lift and coast to the end. But now it's going to be that last dash in and get exactly what you need to finish things up. Bouquet is pulling out even more time to Mitchell Diaz. It's up to 7 seconds almost now. We'll see what comes of the racers as we now head into that climactic final phase. So far, it looks like third and fourth, 8 points difference. Bellucci still has the championship here. It will only matter if he drops down to 6th place. If he drops down to 6th place, Patouche has it. Ooh, a little bit of an outside run. Robert Paul is also going to be jumping into the pits and is going to be coming out at the back. I gotta say, this has been a difficult one for Paul, but 1st through 10th, that's still going to be 62 points, which isn't enough to undermine their championship run. They still have this locked in. Although it's not in the circumstances they would like, then their championship effort is going to come to the top step with a fizzle rather than a bang. It still goes to show the immense level of consistency. 50% win rate in this season. 5 out of 10 wins. That is a remarkable racing record. And the reward is being able to have these issues in the final round. Six minutes, which means 3 more laps for GT3s and potentially 4 more laps for the Hypers. Bouquet leads. Patouche is a second away from Diaz. I think they've got a bit of a new mission. They can get ahead of Diaz. This will jump him by 10 points. And that could mean he steals the championship in the dying moments. If he can get past Diaz, they'll have the count back, like we were saying earlier on. This could be a last-minute switch. Let's see. Will Patouche firmly locked in. 8.7, well, 873 milliseconds. See the last time. Looks like we have got ourselves a real race here. And it looks like Patouche... Oh no, Patouche is going to get blocked. There's going to be an M4 GT3 in the way. It's the number 31 of Stijink. That's going to bring them down an entire second. And now Bellucci is in the crosshairs. That's not looking good here. All of a sudden, the Lamborghini is back into the fold, although rough hairpin, that's going to give him a crucial bit of leeway. Back to about half a second, back to a bit of breathing room. He's really feeling the pressure now and really going to have to bring their best to these last few laps. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be pretty, but what are they going to do? What are they going to have in their pocket to finish the mission? Bouquet is going to be upsetting everything here. They're going to be heading into the pits. 4 minutes to go. Has something gone wrong? Did they not take enough energy? Did he not take enough energy? What do you even say? What happened? Diaz is going to be now in the lead and is going to be set to take the win of the race. And then if Patush overtakes, they'll once again get the championship off him. Bellucci is not going to let that happen. Half a second stands. And half a second being drawn in. Becoming slowly less and less. Oh no, Mitchell Diaz having an issue. That's going to be with one of the Mustangs. That's going to be a crucial slowdown. And all of a sudden, everyone is now brought within half a second roughly. That's going to be Diaz's worst nightmare. Look at this. 0.7 of a second, but wobbling around that zone. It will be very close here to determine. And oh no, it looks like once again having to take a bit of a suboptimal line, having to deal with traffic. That's a very difficult corner. That's going to be Cunningham, really proving to be a rough one. The Mustang's going to prove to be in the way. However, that's Patush being slowed down by the same car. That's going to be Jordan Biddle being the one in the way. Although it looks like Bellucci's being the one worst hit. 1.3 seconds behind now. We officially have Mitchell Diaz and Patush really giving it their all. I think he's even flashing him as a means to say, let's race, let's bring it home, let's really give us some fireworks. And here we are now, making our way down. Looks like Alistair Ramsey is just going to be up ahead of the Ferrari here. Where's he going to place himself? Having to take a little bit of a yield in the exit of the final corner. Patush is going to have a bit of trouble now. Half of a second lost. Final lap. 1 second to gain. Can he do it? 1.25. Make that Diaz. It's his race to lose. It is absolutely his race to lose here. The hypercars have fought hard and fought valiantly. Now it is crunch time. Patush is running out of options, running out of time. You can only hope that some of the GT3s up ahead will be the straw that breaks the Porsche's back. Here's going to be on the back of, I believe that is, I want to say Lettonen. Yep, that is indeed Lettonen there. And it's actually going to yield to the outside there. It's going to let that fight go through unencumbered. Bellucci, though, is going to get back in onto the jaws of the podium. Diaz has controlled this race brilliantly. I will say it's a shame that we saw Bouquet actually jumping out into the pits in the very last second. I thought that could have been a strategy for the ages. The complete 180 on the race. But not meant to be. Final few corners now. Final double apex technically. It's going to be Mitchell Diaz coming through to take the final round here. The clock is over. The session is done. And Mitchell Diaz takes the checkered flag. Patush in second. Bellucci in third, meaning pending penalties. Gianluca Bellucci is our champion here in the World Sprint Championship. What a final run. That could have gone either way for the last 10 minutes. And that was absolutely stonking brilliant. No other way to put it. Patush fought hard and valiantly as well. And I am seriously impressed with everyone out on the side of the track. All of them are going to have their heads held high. Bouquet is going to come through into P4 with Dan Wilson now actually, I think that's them billowing smoke themselves. As Henrik de Vries is going to be there, albeit I think a lap down. What is it with these Cadillacs and billowing smoke? De Vries' car has now stopped doing it. as Wilson is going to be coming across the line in P5. Holstenius into the pit, but in P7. Borgso, then De Vries in P8, and Kerner in P9. Finally, Lettonen, Ramsey, Moffat, Biddle, Niesbet, Forte, Stijink, Starkey, Borgerson, and Poor. What a race. What a finale. And what a conclusion. We start as we finish, and Robert Poor comes across the line. Last but certainly not least, our champion for LMGT3. Pending penalties, that is where we call time, and that is where we call the race done. And the season done, folks. Of course, it remains to be said that there will be a potential sort of reviewing by stewards. Remember that Bellucci is still on best behaviour. If there were found to be any penalty points, the championship will be handed over to Patouche. But we'll see what this interview segment has in store in some of the stories that we might have to come from some of the drivers. Let's bring the first one in. We have got Lettonen in the waiting in the wings. We are going to have a chance to talk to him now. We will hopefully ask as well if we can talk to Mitchell Diaz. We're just going to ping him now, but then we will be bringing in to the one and only Timmy Lettonen. So let's just make sure that we have and then we will bring Lettonen in. Yeah. Can you hear us?
Yes, hello.
Lovely, lovely. Well, I want to say congratulations on winning this one and taking a healthy dose of points, double points. How you feeling?
Thank you, thank you. Really, really good, actually. I was surprised from what happened to Robert. I still don't know what happened to him, but I'm glad it did because it got me some crucial points, and I'm just trying to look up if that was enough for championship win.
Yeah, I know it was close. I do know that it certainly is close. My napkin maths was saying that it was extremely close, but just shy of the actual championship title. But I could very well be wrong. So that has to be verified.
I'm gonna double check that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what a cool race.
Did you have any expectations heading into Sebring?
No. I like Sebring, and I've done it before, so I was thinking it's gonna be a good result, but not. Yeah, I thought I was gonna have some battles, but yeah, it was.
Yeah, you ended up having a fairly clean run on the whole.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
What was your sort of strategy heading into this weekend, if you had one? I know you said that you were expecting a couple of battles and that didn't really happen. Did that sort of change the race for you? Change your approach to the race at all?
No, not really. I didn't really have any plan going into this one as usual. Was just gonna drive and see where I end up, and this time it ended pretty good. Didn't run out of fuel.
Yeah, I'd say did good. Certainly did good. Now, season over. I mean, regardless to say P2 or P1, you still have done absolutely brilliantly. So, my question is, where does it go from here? You got plans for joining future seasons, or sort of expanding into LMU a bit more?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't thought about it as the real racing season just started. I've been trying to focus on that, but if there is another season, I might as well join it again, but the main focus will be on the real racing stuff, obviously.
Yeah, no, well, of course, that makes total sense. according to this, I know you were asking about what happened to Robert. Looks like there was an issue with his HUD, so having flickering and some technical issues. That might have something to do with it, but I don't know for sure. I gotta say, it has been brilliant to watch. Like in particular, you two, you really have been battling it out, and that has been sort of one of the sort of most entertaining parts of the season on the GT3 side.
For sure, yeah.
But either way, that is a brilliant result. Now, I'm going to let you go. Hopefully, we'll have another season of this. And if we do, hopefully be seeing you in the commentary box as well. But for now, well-earned rest. And the season concluded. Put your feet up. Absolutely earned it, mate. Well done.
Yeah, I think we'll meet again in the commentary box. If there is another season, then
Well, I
probably,
look forward
yeah,
to it.
But yeah, it was a great season. Thank you guys as well for hosting it. Everything has been really, really good from stewarding to streams and everything. Just been really fun racing this championship, to be honest.
Oh, let's say, in order for a championship to be as good as it has, it's got to have amazing drivers on the ground. So, thank you very much, mate.
That's true.
We do appreciate the kind words, but you have a brilliant rest of your night as well.
Yeah, no worries. You too. Thank you.
All right, so that was, of course, Timi Letonen. We've got a couple more guests that we'll have a chance to talk to as well. I think it's only fair that we get Mitchell Diaz. Now, I want to preface by saying, not the strongest with English, apparently, but they're trying his best. So let's grab him in and let's see what he's got in store for us. Hi, Mitchell, can you hear us? I think your microphone is muted still. Can you hear me in the commentary box?
Do you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Nice.
Hey, I gotta say, well done. That was a brilliant race out there tonight. How do you feel about it?
Well, I think like every race in this season, I was probably like half a second or 1 second behind in pace. Probably because I'm slower, or probably because I'm using the Porsche. The other guys were using the Ferrari, the Toyota. They were much faster. And well, today was just, I knew that I was going to be slower, so I just tried to make no mistakes at all, and just nail it with a strategy. When I did the math, I knew that we were going to do 33 most probably, but there was a chance to do 32. So I was like, well, I don't care. I mean, it's just the last race. Just put less gas, do a faster pit stop, and try to do 32 laps. If I nail it, I'm gonna be ahead of everybody else. So it just was just to keep the pace, keep focus, and no mistakes, and that was good. And I think I was also feeling more tired than the rest, because they were much faster than me at the beginning, and like in the middle of the stint or at the end, they were pretty similar pace. So I think that was my the good thing I did today to win.
Yeah,
that was my only chance.
That was brilliant, and you certainly did a lot of work to conserve the car as well, and that was very impressive. Now, you said about the car choice, how the other drivers are picking the likes of the Ferrari or the Lamborghini. Are you happy with the Porsche? Did you find it good to drive this season, or if you had another chance, would you pick a different car?
Well, I knew that was going to be slower, but just like the Porsche. I mean, I'm not a guy that jumps from one car to the other. I don't care if it's slower, if it's faster, whatever. I just stay with one car. Probably it's not good, because if I have to change a car for whatever reason, I'm not going to be so fast. But I like to just stay with one car. In this case, with a Porsche, and just stay with it. I think even if the car is slower than the rest, if you just keep using the same car in every track, every race, then you just squeeze a little bit more of performance from the car. So, I mean, I don't care. I just like the Porsche. I know it was going to be slower, but I mean, I don't care.
Yeah, well, you did a very good job, and you kept it consistent, and that was the biggest thing for me. You had a very consistent race. It was smooth, it was calm, and like you said, no mistakes. In the end, that's what got you the win. Everyone was fighting elsewhere on the track, and that's where you got your advantage. But a brilliant finish out there this season, and certainly a finish to be proud of, as that is going to be, I think, sort of a show of what pace you're capable of. Remember, you had 2 second places in the season as well, so I definitely think there's a championship fighter in you.
Yeah, I mean, I had to travel to Colombia for a month. I've been out for about 4 weeks. So, I mean, and I mean, it was just four races, but there were about 9-10 races, right? In this championship. So, I mean, I'm not fighting for the championship. I'm just trying to have fun and whatever. If I miss some races or have bad races, I just continue racing the same in the next week. I don't care if I have a bad race or whatever. So, some people just quit. They have a few bad races for whatever reason, and they just quit from the championship. I mean, I think we're here to have fun, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and all I gotta say is I love that. That is perfect, and I think that was shown out there tonight. It's just enjoying your own race, staging your own lane, and lo and behold, brilliant result. I'm gonna let you go. Thank you very much for joining us in the box today, mate. It was really good to talk to you. Thank you for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you in here again soon.
Yeah, thanks for the championship. It was so fun, even if I missed about 4 or 5 races. But next season I'll try to stay, race the whole season.
Looking forward to it, mate. But enjoy the rest of your day or night, and have a good one.
Day.
Enjoy the rest of your
thanks.
day, then, mate. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
There you go. Now we have one more guest, folks, before we wrap things up for tonight, where we say closing thoughts and we have a little bit of teasing for what's to come. We do have one more guest who we'd like to jump in. It is going to be Mika Patush. Let's grab him in and let's talk about how he's handled this season. Patush, can you hear us? Radio check, radio check. 1 2 1 2. Patush, can you hear us in the commentary box?
Hello, yes, I can hear you.
Okay, now we've got you coming through. Lovely. So, wow, that was a pretty exciting finale, wasn't it?
Yes, I can only agree.
You are sort of teetering on the edge of the championship there. Now, Bellucci was fighting hard as well. They really were giving you a lot of trouble, but you were fighting, I think, for the entire last 10 minutes. It was non-stop. How are you feeling during all of that?
Yeah, I have to say I lost it all just in the pits. I put in like 7% too much energy, which cost me like, I don't know, 3-4 seconds. And so Diaz just got ahead of me. And also just before I got into the pits, I had a little moment. I went wide in the infield somewhere, lost also 3-4 seconds. So yeah, it was all up to me. But yeah, I tried to reel him in the end, but just didn't work out with the traffic. And yeah, just gave it my all, and yeah, it didn't happen in the end.
Sometimes it doesn't always come to pass, but I mean, I can't understate how good of a season you still had. You had 3 wins back to back heading into this race, so by all accounts, that momentum left you in a position where you could have realistically stolen the championship, and I think in another timeline, that very may well have happened. So my question to you is,
I mean, for 2 points really. One is, how was the car? Like, were you feeling comfortable in the car? Obviously, you had the Ferrari running for the season. Are you sort of feeling happy with that choice now that we've had the championship under our belt?
Yeah, it's that point, which is pretty interesting. I'm actually not at home right now. I'm in France, in Paris, in the Sim Driver Racing Cafe, which I'm very thankful. They let me use their simulators, and I spent like the last 2 hours or so before the race preparing everything and setting everything up. So I can feel comfortable, and also adjusting the setup a little bit. And so it was a different experience this time. So I had to get used to everything from the beginning. But yeah, throughout the whole season, I think I've made quite a big improvement. Like in the beginning, my first race in Spa, I ended up in P10, and then started to get more and more comfortable with the car as I also put more practice in. So yeah, I'm very happy with the car choice. Yes.
Yeah, and considering, there you go. You can hear the applause in the background. Well deserved, absolutely well deserved. I mean, you're fighting for the championship in a cafe. Like, I'm still sort of processing that. Like, I'm just processing what you said. That actually took me a second to really register. That is a serious achievement, mate. That you've done immensely well. You said about the improvement this season. I absolutely see it, just as you do. Like you said, started in P10, rough initial start, but then immediately after that, you got 2 second places, and then it's been such a strong finisher of the season. Couldn't really ask for much better. So whatever happens, head held high, because that was a brilliant second half of the season. Can't be topped.
Thank you very much.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm also just very, very sweaty because like everything is different. I also don't have load cell pedals at home, which was a very different experience. Now having to actually work
They
the car.
are very different. They're a very different feel.
Yeah.
But that is an amazing finish. And even if it isn't to be for the championship, I think that is certainly a story to end it on. Say, going a sim racing cafe. That is, still don't know how to process that. But either way, I think a well-earned rest is in order, a well-earned celebration, and a brilliant finish. So, well done, mate. I don't really know what else to say other than it's been brilliant to watch you, along with Bellucci and everyone else on the track, fight it out and really just give it their all. So I'm hoping for, if there's a future season, if that comes to pass, I believe that there is talks of a future season. Quote, news on that will be coming, according to Craig, so we'll see. But if there's a future season, I'd love to see you in it.
Yeah, me too. I'm also looking forward, and also thank you for streaming the whole season. It's been great, and also thank you to my team, Mertel Motorsport. They always supported me throughout the season, helped me make improvements, especially Marvin, who's also competing in the VMS Esports Championship. Helped me a lot, and there's not much else I can say to you. Yeah, and also thanks to all the other drivers who competed in the championship. They all did very well, especially Bellucci and Parcosi. And congrats to them as well.
Yeah, and all I've got to say now is take a rest, towel off some of the sweat. You've earned it. Definitely
Thank you so much.
it.
Have a nice evening.
Yep. Have a good evening, mate. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And that is it, folks. That is a season. Now, before we close out, I wanted to say a big thank you to the drivers, to the staff who make this happen behind the scenes, to Craig for giving me a chance to once again join on the broadcast, and for Eero, who joins me on the broadcast regularly and is an absolute showstopper as a colour comm, and to everyone else who makes this possible. There's a lot that goes into these, and I'm even getting emotional thinking about it. There's a lot that goes into these, and it's a privilege to be in this position to
be able to commentate over this racing and to really have a championship fight all the way to the end like we saw today. Now, in terms of the future, there is going to be more to come. I can't exactly say what that is going to be exactly yet, and it might not always be me in the box either. There is going to be potentially some new faces in the commentary box as well. So definitely stay tuned for that. There are some plans in the works that we're not quite ready to share yet, but I hope that you enjoy them. And for now, this is where I am going to be signing off. Thank you to everyone who's been watching up until this point, and everyone who's jumped in throughout the stream or throughout the season. We owe it just as much to you watching as we do to the team who makes it possible. So thank you for being on this with us, for being a part of sort of GRDC finding its feet and really sort of stepping into the big boy shoes. And now we can only go up from here. My name's been Ben Sapsford, and I'm signing off. Good night, everyone. When will I see you next? Hopefully soon. Good night.